Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Radio on fire. Anywhere you get your podcast, just search the Diamond K Show. A lot of things to get into. And I don't know. It's an exciting time to be alive. Let me say that. It's an exciting time to be alive. But these are very interesting times as well. Supreme Court has just Supreme Court has thrown a monkey wrench into everything. Attorneys for Donald Trump said today that that talking to the presiding federal judge, and this is in the classified documents case, and they're trying to get everything halted in those proceedings to allow for consideration for how the Supreme Court's presidential immunity ruling impacts criminal charges. All right. They're trying to figure out now whether they can charge him with anything. They're trying to figure out now that the Supreme Court gave the Trump side more than what they asked for. More than what they asked for. Now, imagine if Joe Biden, and we're going to get to Joe Biden in a minute, but imagine if Joe Biden was the criminal lawbreaker that Donald Trump is. Imagine that. Imagine that. He would be trying to use the powers that the Supreme Court has given. He would be trying to use that now. But either Trump is I guess he just assumes that Biden's not going to use any of that stuff. I don't know. But the court, according to them, the court should stay. That means hold all other proceedings in the case while Trump presents his arguments for why the bulk of the case should be dismissed because of the recent Supreme Court decision. Now, folks said it back in 2016, 2015. We were on this very show. They would say, and they call in, or they say it on social media, oh, it doesn't matter what happens in the election. The election doesn't impact me. It's the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to vote for Hillary, or you vote for Hillary, or you vote for Trump. It's not going to make a difference. That's what they were saying back then. Oh, it makes a big difference. But sometimes folks need to learn things the hard way. And now we are seeing that. Now we're seeing the results. The Supreme Court has been stacked with some ultra right-wing conservatives. And they have laid out the blueprint for a serial rule breaker like Donald Trump to just go in and just run amok. Joe Biden, we're going to get to him in a minute. He's too principled to even understand the seriousness of the threat. Because what he should do, what Joe Biden should do, through his surrogates, of course, he should say, okay, since the Supreme Court said this, we're going to do this, right? And since the Supreme Court has said that the president is immune, we're going to round up folks, these Trump folks, because they are a threat to the United States of America. That's what they should say. And then they're going to get all right. But, then they would change it, right? If they threaten to use the power that the Supreme Court has given the president, because it's not just Donald Trump they've supposedly given these powers to. So Joe Biden would supposedly have these same powers, right? So then you should act now. So don't ever, we ain't going to never, every election, we're going to think is not being run right and something's going on, so we're going to take these steps. And they have to threaten these Republicans with these very powers. But Donald Trump knows that Democrats don't roll like that. Democrats don't even think like that. So they're going to go around and they're going to be scared and whining and not even use or even threaten to use any of the powers that the Supreme Court has so-called bestowed upon the president. Now, no other president has had these rights. No other president has been able to do any of the things that the Supreme Court now says Trump can do. But, of course, no other president has been a serial criminal like Donald Trump. And Trump filed this initial motion to dismiss the indictment on the grounds of presidential immunity back in February. He thought he was immune. No other president. This is not in the Constitution. The Supreme Court has just run amok. The Supreme Court thinks they're really supreme. It is really mind blowing when you think about it. Trump was indicted on 40 counts. He has pled not guilty to all charges, and he operates with projection. The stuff that he says really applies to himself. Supreme Court this week handed Trump a major victory by ruling that presidents have immunity for official actions while in office. So if that is the case, Joe Biden needs to make some official actions and clear this table off of this MAGA malfeasance. But he ain't going to do it because he don't have the heart. He don't have the balls. He doesn't have the testicular fortitude to do these things. There was a 6-3 decision on the, ideological lines. Came in response to Trump's challenge to special counsel Jack Smith's election interference case against him. Clarence Thomas says that, the special counsel is not even a lawful thing. Even though they've had all these special counsels Republicans had over the years, now all of a sudden it's unlawful. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And Democrats, here's the thing about Democrats. Democrats in Washington, people that are around Joe Biden, are operating with one hand tied behind their back and the other hand in their pocket. They ain't doing nothing. And this is the thing. You can't blame Republicans for that because they're putting their hand in their pocket and they're tying their own hand behind their back. Why Congress, this is a toothless entity, but Congress won't step up and say, oh, the Supreme Court can't do this. They don't call them in for nothing. Like they don't exercise anything. This is supposed to be co-equal branches of government. But clearly, Democrats just sit back and just let anything happen to them, let themselves be bullied, and they don't do nothing about it. And it is disgusting. It is truly, truly disgusting. The president is not above the law, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote in his ruling. But Congress may not criminalize the president's conduct in carrying out the responsibilities of the executive branch under the Constitution. But the things that Donald Trump has done are not presidential responsibilities. And if that's the case, he's going to say everything is a presidential responsibility, and he's never going to step down. Oh, this is disgusting. This is truly disgusting. And then we're going into election season. We're going into conventions. And I'm saying these things. Trump court filing today referenced a line from the decision where Roberts wrote that questions about whether the president may be held liable for particular actions consistent with the separations of power must be addressed at the outset of a proceeding. So they're going to try to say, you didn't say none of this stuff at the beginning, so now it is null and void. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff that wasn't said at the beginning. This wasn't said in the beginning. Trump's attorneys argued that as a result of that language, Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump nominee, first of all, these Trump nominees should not even be judging his case at all. They shouldn't be judging his case at all, but Democrats are too weak and too scared and too shook to even say anything about that. They can sit down and let everything happen. Trump's attorneys argued that the nominee, Cannon, right? Cannon, placed in her position by Donald Trump, should have the case put on hold until the immunity questions are resolved. When are the immunity questions going to be resolved? Oh, we don't know. We're just going to push this down the line, kick the can down the road, as they say. This is a major win for Trump because it puts things on hold. If Trump wins this election, it is going to be a really, really sad day For real. Like, you hear that all the time, but this is the real thing here. Other times are maybe, but there's no maybe in this. There is no maybe in this. So the filing by Trump's team also used Justice Clarence Thomas. Yes, that piece of crap. Clarence Thomas' concurring opinion to bolster another of its motions, which argues that Jack Smith was not properly appointed to the special counsel. What's up, DJ Nitro? Thomas had written, if this unprecedented prosecution is to proceed, it must be conducted by someone duly authorized to do so by the American people. Okay, Clarence Thomas, you weren't, and none of the Supreme Court justices were voted into office. You were appointed. So I know you ain't talking about the Supreme Court, and you claim that Congress can't hold him. So really, they want the president to be a king only if the president is a Republican. Because I guarantee you, if Joe Biden, who we're going to get to in a minute, but if Joe Biden starts saying, okay, I'm going to throw people in jail because they are enemies of the state, and start throwing some of these MAGA folks in jail, then the Supreme Court is going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, I thought that the president could do anything. Oh, you can't do that. And then they would change it, right? So you need to call the bluff of these so-called Supreme Court justices. But there's a lot of people around Joe Biden, so-called smart people. And we're going to talk about them because I think that the issues that have come to light with regards to Joe Biden, this stuff has come to light on purpose. Somebody in and around Joe Biden wants this stuff and these questions to be brought to the people. There's a fifth column in Joe Biden's camp. Somebody in his camp has caused this exposure to happen. And we're going to talk about that right after this. You'll listen to the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Now, Joe Biden is trying a desperate bid to save his reelection campaign after that debate debacle. We've talked about it. It was sad. It was there's no other way to describe it. President Biden is fighting to save his endangered reelection effort. He's repeatedly rejected taking an independent medical evaluation that would show voters he is up for serving another term in office. That is a problem. What are you trying to hide? Why wouldn't you do anything possible to show and prove that you are good? Well, because he's not. That's why. Because he's not. All right, fine. So he's blaming the disastrous debate performance on a bad episode, saying that there were no indications of any serious condition. Here's the thing. The performance that Biden put out on the debate only substantiated what people were thinking. We didn't walk into the debate saying, oh, Joe Biden's just fine, and then this stuff happened in the debate. We're like, what? Oh my God, no. Everybody already thought he was too old for the position. They already thought that. Everybody has seen Joe Biden walk, and we've seen him stumbling around. We already know that he had a stutter, but this was not about a stutter. There is something going on, and they're trying to manage it. I don't know, but whether he is in good health or bad health, Joe Biden is a better choice than Donald Trump. He's a better choice than Donald Trump. So he's done a taped interview with George Stephanopoulos, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And Biden says that he has a cognitive test every single day. He said this to George Stephanopoulos, referring to the tasks that he faces daily on this rigorous job. Every day I've had tests, everything I do. Well, when we talk about the test at the debate, oh, you failed that, fam. He failed that. You know how you have a coach, right? You have a coach. He's been a winning coach. We've seen this in football a lot. Winning coaches. They got even ones with Super Bowl rings, right? The Patriots just dealt with this. And the coach is older. And the game has passed them by. And it's time to get rid of the coach and move on. And folks say, oh, he brought a whole bunch of Super Bowls to the city. We got to give him another shot. Okay, you give him another season. And then he lose. And then he say, well, we got to get rid of this coach. This coach has been in the game too long. Oh, wait, what do you mean? 30 years ago, they brought us this. And that's the situation that we're in with Joe Biden. He has done a lot, and he's been elected office 50 years. But your time has come, and it's been a job well done. But fam, it's that time. And Democrats are playing games with our lives because they say, oh, no, it's up to Joe. We've waited. It's too long. It's too late now. No, when people were talking about this earlier in the season, they were saying the same things that they're saying right now. And they shut out realistic contenders because they didn't want Joe Biden to be out of office, because you have a group of people that are around Joe Biden that like the power. Jill Biden, for starters, likes the power. Woodrow Wilson had a stroke or something, and his wife was running the show. Woodrow Wilson, a racist president from back, in the early 1900s. So after World War I, he had some kind of episode, and they hid it from the American people, as they frequently do. And of course, the public's asking, what's going on with the president? Oh, everything's fine. All right, but they were lying. Just like the people around Joe Biden are lying to us right now. Hey, but look, politics, people lie, right? So I'm not holding nobody because they lied. Okay, that's fine. You lied, right? But now you're caught. You're caught in the lie. So lying and then being caught in the lie are two different things. But Biden has insisted that he is not more frail and he's in good shape. I saw him walking to the lectern. He is not in good shape. Now, I mean, I don't know. He's like a walking skeleton kind of thing, right? Right. I'm not saying he don't got a lot of fat on him, but it's not a lot of muscle there either. It's just a lot of bones. He said that he has an ongoing assessment by his personal doctors, and they don't hesitate to tell him if something is wrong. I don't believe nothing that you're saying. I don't believe it. But he's still better than Donald Trump. Even after all that, he is old. We do have a very capable vice president who's coming to her own, despite the fact that Biden's people tried to hold her back because they knew that Joe Biden was compromised. They knew that his health and age was a factor, and they did not want her to be president too soon. So they have tried to make her look bad over the years. As for the debate, he told Stephanopoulos, I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing. Oh, you've been doing this 50 years and you ain't listening to your instincts. Oh, you're just making up stuff. And it's taken 8-9 days for you to come up with this. You could have came up with better stuff than this. I could have debated Donald Trump with 15 minutes notice better than Joe Biden did. And now he's going to sit up here and try to sell the American people lies. This is why people don't like politics, because people lie and it's based on ego, right? People don't want, we owe it to Joe Biden. No, we don't. We don't owe nothing to Joe Biden. I mean, he did a good job. It doesn't mean he can do 4 more years. He can't do 4 more years. But they just want to get over the hump. And when folks were giving them warning signs, and we're in the midst of two bad options. Here's what I mean. Joe Biden running, bad choice. Joe Biden stepping down, bad choice, right? It's a bad choice either way. Every time there is some type of a contested situation with Democrats, you get a bad result. Here's what I mean. And we're going to go back. Let's go back to 1968. 1968, president was Lyndon Johnson, and he was at a point where Joe Biden is right now. It's time for him to run for re-election. He says, I will not seek, nor will I accept my party's nomination for president, right? He stepped down. He said, I can't do it no more. Now, you had Vietnam going on, but behind the scenes, Lyndon Johnson was sick. Literally, he was not feeling well. And he died several years later, but he did not have the physical capacity to go forward. So he stepped down, right? So what happened is that there was a scramble for who was going to be the nominee. So as his vice president, ultimately, but there were other people, and they thought this one, they thought that one. But ultimately, we ended up with Richard Nixon as president. The Republicans ended up winning because the Democrats were fussing around, and it was a whole bunch of contention, and they couldn't get along, and the Republicans won. All right. So you may say, oh, that's just one incident, right? That's just one incident. But there were others. Okay, there were others. And during the Carter administration, when Carter's coming, maybe we need to switch. Maybe Teddy Kennedy can come, and the end result, fussing between the Democrats that couldn't really unify on a candidate. And what happened? We get Ronald Reagan. Right? Let's go to Hillary. This is a more recent example. Let's go to Hillary. You had the Hillary folks and you had the Bernie Sanders folks. And when Hillary got the nomination, the Bernie Sanders folks helped tank Hillary because it was a half-hearted, all right, Hillary won kind of thing. But you had some of those Sanders people that were so angry that they didn't support Hillary. And that difference there is a big part of why Hillary lost. Not the only reason, but it's a big part of it. Democrats do not know how to unify. The tent's too big. One thing about the Republicans is that they follow the dear leader. They follow the dear leader, and Republicans, there's been good and bad with it, but they do know how to get behind their folk. But it's less of them than it is us. So that's why they pulling the little levers, pulling the little switches, and doing all that kind of stuff. But Biden is trying desperately to save this reelection bid. Trying desperately. So he had a 22-minute interview paired with the weekend campaign, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, part of the rigorous effort of Biden to try to get things back on track. But, behind the scenes, you have Democrats raising concerns. They're raising these concerns. These private concerns have now been coming to the forefront about the president. These concerns are coming to the forefront, meaning people are talking smack behind the scenes, smiling in his face, talking back behind his back, backstabbers, it is. But he's going through that. We're going to talk about that, these private concerns that are coming to the public, and we're going to be back right after this. Welcome back, you man, Diamond K. So Bernie Sanders described Joe Biden's recent debate performance as painful. He said in an interview that he is not confident that Biden can win this fall. A lot of people are not confident that Biden can win. So Plies, the rapper Plies, he says a lot of things, and I've posted some of the stuff and tried to get folks' thoughts on it. And Plies, the rapper, and a lot of folks think like him from the standpoint of, yes, Joe Biden is old, and yes, he had a bad debate performance, but Donald Trump's a liar and a criminal, and that's worse than just being old. Absolutely true. That is absolutely true. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that because you have some people that are into this part, right? They're into it. But the progressive senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, does not want Biden to step aside. He says that he does not want Biden to step aside. Instead, Sanders, who served as Biden's chief rival, you remember back in the 2020 campaign, is calling for voters to adopt a maturity as they view their options this fall. Now, here's what I want to happen. I want Joe Biden to resign as president on Monday. Like ASAP Rocky, like Rihanna's baby daddy. I want Biden to resign for the good of the country. I want him to turn the keys to the castle over to Kamala Harris. That's what I want to happen. That's not going to happen, but that's what I want to happen. Now, since that's not going to happen, unless there are more issues and more public displays of, some type of an illness from Biden, unless that happens, we're not going to have Kamala Harris as president and the nominee going into the fall. So since that's not going to happen, since Democrats are going to allow Biden to push forward, we have to deal with that, and she'll become president for next year sometime. But it's going to happen regardless. So the presidential election is not a music awards contest for the best singer or the best entertainer. That's not what it is. It is not one of those type of things. So we should not expect the president, whoever he or she may be, to give the best performance. That's not what it's about. But you do expect them to be able to talk in complete sentences, bare minimum. You do expect that. So Bernie Sanders says that he's going to do everything that he can to see that Biden gets reelected. He says, Bernie Sanders, that it's about who has the best policies that impact our lives. That is true. That is true. So we have to put the best face that we possibly can on it. Nearly a week after this disastrous debate performance, questions are still going to be there about Biden's ability to remain in the race. They are intensifying among Democrats. So you got folks, Democrats, elected officials speaking out saying, hey, we want him to step down. And you have governors. The governors came down and hollered at President Biden. And they were saying, no, he's good. We want him to stay in office. And, you're going to have more people that are going to come out and are going to say that Biden needs to step down. More people are going to say that, but he's not stepping down, right? He's not going to give up the power. He's going to continue to push forward, and that's just what it is. But there is a growing sense that the party has trapped itself in a bad situation because they have. You could have got out of this last year when it was a lot easier, but now it's harder. There is no clear solution. And during the primary process is when this was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen during the primary process. He was supposed to be one and done. He was supposed to just beat Donald Trump in 2020, and that's it. That's what was supposed to happen. And that's, I think, what he wanted to happen. But then he got in there. It got good to him. And Jill and Hunter and all the other people, they started to say, oh, we don't need to turn this power over. We can ride this wave. We can ride this wave. But now we are stuck with Joe Biden, at least till after the election. Then we can get Kamala in there. All right, we can get Kamala in there. Y'all get those pearls and those chucks out because it's going to happen, okay? Biden ain't got 4 more years in him, but we definitely can't have Trump. We can definitely not have Trump. Now, some allies, like Bernie Sanders, are acknowledging Joe Biden's problems, but are contrasting his policies and his record with those of the convicted criminal Donald Trump. Many donors, the strategists, the party insiders want Biden to suspend his reelection campaign to avoid what they see as certain defeat in November. It can go either way. But here's the other thing. you definitely need to energize the base, because if you don't energize the base, here's what's going to happen. The people that don't have faith in Joe Biden are not going to vote for Trump. That's not what's going to happen. They are just going to be disengaged, and they're just going to stay home, and they're just not going to vote for nobody. So when that happens, then it really becomes a number game. It really becomes a number game. And who turned out the vote? Who turned out the vote in November? That's what it is. The base is not energized. You're absolutely right. But I'm just saying, if you don't energize the base, and the base is not going to be energized from Joe Biden. I mean, you can't energize. Joe Biden is not an energizing type of figure. He's not. So on Tuesday, we got a House member, first House Democrat to call for Biden to withdraw, saying there's too much at stake for Biden to stay in the race and lose to Trump. That is true. He has the opportunity to encourage a new generation of leaders from whom a nominee can be chosen to unite our country through an open democratic process. Now, Democrats don't do that process well. The nominee, if Biden steps down, the nominee should be VP Harris. But regardless, so we have that. So folks are starting to come up. Nancy Pelosi, who is a supporter of Joe Biden, she's kind of on the fence now. And just like somebody from Baltimore, she's on the fence now with it. She's like, I don't know. Now, supporters have said that there have been other people that have had bad debate performances and they came back. Yeah, they had bad debate performances, but these were not folks that were being accused of being too old for the job. They just delivered a bad performance. And you can deliver a bad performance, right? You didn't hit your mode, your points. You weren't aggressive enough. You didn't raise or answer some questions right. That's fine. And you can rebound from that. But that's not what happened with Joe Biden. Joe Biden fell apart because it's just the ticker is like, I don't know. It's not even that he was buffering. It was beyond buffering. It was all analog and it wasn't good. It was like, all right, folks that are a certain age, you remember when you have a Walkman or a CD player and the batteries are going slow, so you start talking like this. That's what Joe Biden's analog. It wasn't buffering like, we're trying to get online or something and it's spinning. It wasn't like that. Joe Biden is winding down. And it's making me nervous. It's making me nervous. It's a legit question as to whether Biden's performance is an episode or a condition, right? An episode or a condition. Now, an episode is a one-time thing, and we know this ain't no one-time thing. This is a condition. Now, the folks that are around Biden, they don't want him to step down because of the power, because of the money. The Biden campaign raised more than $33 million since the debate with Trump. More than that. Okay. Now, yeah, they ain't trying to step down. They don't want to turn the reins over. And I say that Kamala should be the person if Biden steps down, because she's the only person that's going to be able to access that money. If it's somebody else, they got to fight for it. The nomination, they're not going to get access to the money that Biden has raised. So it needs to be the VP. Now, understand this. Obama and Biden wasn't that tight. Okay, the vice president and the president are usually not that close. There's usually a rivalry there. And so Obama, he picked Biden because it was strategic, but he ain't really bang with him like that. Biden said some real dumb stuff when they were running against each other. He picked him for strategic reasons, but he didn't really like him like that. And if you're doubting it, you can simply go by the fact that he pushed for Hillary to run and put his support for Hillary, not Biden. He didn't really, because he knew what we already are finding out now, right? But regardless, the teams, the camps, the supporters, the staff of Biden and the staff and the supporters of VP Harris, they don't click. They got their own separate crew. And the Biden crew try to keep the Harris crew on the outside and vice versa because, there was tension between them when they were running. But they picked her for strategic reasons, but they didn't like each other. And they don't like each other now. And they don't got to like each other. But I'm just letting you know the rivalry that exists because it's just what it is. That's just what it is. So they have consistently tried to make VP Harris look bad. The president usually gives the vice president the bad jobs. The stuff that nobody wants to do, the stuff that the president doesn't want to do, they send the vice president for that. And that's how it's been. That's how it's always been. It's probably going to be how it would be. Now, in private conversations, people close to the would-be Biden replacements, who are those people? Who are the folks that could and would be a contender? These are the folks that are going to run for president in 2028. That's for sure. That would definitely include California Governor Gavin Newsom. I think Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Definitely VP Harris, who was my pick. Have had informal conversations about potential next steps should Biden abruptly change course or step aside. Now, let's say that something happens, God forbid, but let's say something happens to President Biden. Then VP Harris would take over, naturally, right? Now, let's say that something happens after Joe Biden is reelected. That would be VP Harris. VP Harris makes the most sense. VP Harris makes the most sense. Now, but VP Harris is playing the game. Now, if you remember after those debate performance, debacle, when he crashed into the I mean, when Joe Biden was talking, it was just like these long pauses. Oh, man. VP Harris came out and she's doing interviews. Nobody even knew she was coming. She just out doing interviews talking because they were nervous. They were scared. And she has gotten better. She has gotten better. VP Harris has gotten better in these 3 years. What do I mean? Politics, if you go back to the 9th grade, so when she got elected, it was the 9th grade, and now she's a senior, right? There's a big difference between that freshman that walked on campus and the senior 4 years later, right? So she's gained some maturity, she's gained some political savviness, and I am really happy to see that part. And Midlife Bro Logic said, did you watch the pathetic interview tonight that was pre-recorded like a movie? I have not watched the interview yet. I have seen some of the transcripts. You already know that the interview was going to be pre-recorded, right? You already knew that. So they're definitely not going to have them do a live interview. That's you saw a live interview. You saw what that was. That was a debate. So you're not going to see that. Midlife Bro Logic on YouTube says Harris is worse. No, she's not. But she has gotten so much better, consistently lying and covering up for an old man. Yes, she consistently lies. Donald Trump consistently lies. And Donald Trump, he needs to find a new wife because this wife number 3 is getting ready to leave him. He's gonna have to find wife number 4, right? We don't want a guy that can't keep a woman happy to be the president. No, definitely not. Donald Trump is the worst. Donald Trump is the worst. All right. And so I saw this funny meme that said that they would vote for Biden in hospice over Donald Trump. They would vote for Donald Trump. Never. So regardless of that, all right, and we're wrapping things up here. Regardless of that, these conversations that have been happening in private are coming to the surface, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens, but people need to take this serious. This is not a game. Your participation in this process is your participation in this process is needed. It is detrimental. It is detrimental to our health and prosperity. It is detrimental. We do this. I have one last story to get into, and then we'll be back right after this. This is the Diamond K Show. on Fire TV.
Who's running this club? Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond. Who's running this club? Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond, Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond, Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Make it hot. Show me what you got.
Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show. You can support us here at On Fire TV via PayPal.me/Radio On Fire, on Cash App, $ The Diamond K Show. You can become a member today, get exclusive content. You can do that on fire-tv.com/join. Subscribe on youtube.com/djdiamondk and get in contact with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. So Baltimore's Mayor Brandon Scott and other officials earlier this week, they cut the ribbon on 2 newly acquired hotels to aid the city's effort in combating homelessness. So the mayor's office of homeless services said that funds from the American Rescue Plan were used to purchase the Sleep Inn and Suites on North Front Street and the Holiday Inn Express on North Gay Street in downtown Baltimore. The purchase is part of the city's response to the nationwide housing crisis and the rise in homelessness. So, folks, feel how you feel. And I understand that some people are, for some reason, angry about this, right? Some kind of way they're angry about this. Why they get the hotels, whatever. But the Sleep Inn and Suites most recently was utilized to house families, couples, and former encampment residents and individuals and families who have become displaced due to house fires. The Holiday Inn Express has been primarily used to house and provide male clients with individualized case management, mental health services, housing, navigation, vital records, resources, employment assistance, and additional on-site services through the Time organization. So you have folks that are doing things that are trying to help the homeless population here, and that is a good thing. The total cost has been reported to be $15.2 million for the acquisition and $3.2 million for the management agreement for both hotels. So that is a big move here in Baltimore. Homelessness is definitely an issue, and this is going to folks in the city. So I think that is a good thing. And definitely shout out to Mayor Brandon Scott and the whole team. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. Of course, on fire-tv.com. Sponsorships, advertisements include on-air mentions, social media posts, digital commercials, and so much more. You can get involved at onfire-tv.com. And I'll be back here momentarily. Me and Sweet Tea are getting ready to come on with a new edition of the His and Her Show. So we're going to cut this program short and hop on that momentarily. So I will see you guys in a few minutes.
Who's running this club? Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond. Who's running this club? Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond, Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond, Diamond K, Diamond K, Diamond. Show me what you got. Show me what you got.